All right, our next question, Jim, was sent in to CornyDriveThru at gmail.com from Charlie in Starkville, Mississippi. I was listening to an interview with Ricky Morton, and he said his biggest grossing year in the business, he only made $120,000. That really surprised me. Considering the rock and roll were such big draws, why did Ricky get such small payoffs?
Well, now, is that after expenses? Perhaps that was taxable income. I'm caught in a quandary here because I know that 1986 was probably both the Midnight and the Rock and Roll's biggest year in the business. And I know what we made, and it was more than that. So I don't know because I didn't see Ricky's checks, but it seems like it would be more than that to me too. But you know, some people remember the glass half empty and some people remember the glass half full. Now, like every time that you talked to Klondike Bill, this is why I always thought that the ultimate wrestling reality television show would have been Klondike Bill and George Bunk Harris in the ring truck for Jim Crockett Promotions. But I even said one time they get updated for the late 80s. They could be driving an intergalactic ring truck that's actually a spaceship or something. But just those two. Because if you talk to Klondike Bill, he'd be, oh, yes, I wrestled in Amarillo. Yes, oh, Old Man Funk. Oh, he treated me so good. Always paid me well. Yes, oh, we had a good time there. And because he had the Canadian kind of clipped little thing there, he never lost. And then when you talk to old George Bunk Harris from, Monkeytown, Tennessee somewhere, yeah, I'll tell you what, I worked for that guy. He fucked me over. Boy, I tell you, drove 150 miles there through a snowstorm. Couldn't see, no heater in the car. Got there, they were sold slap dab out, people hanging from the rafters. I got so much heat, started a riot, got stabbed, and then he fucked me on the payoff. Had to drive 150 miles all the way back, ran out of gas, almost froze to death. It was just so some people remember the payoffs as not being not as good as they were, and some people remember the payoffs being even better than they were.
The glass is half empty, the glass is half full, or it's a glass table.
But fortunately, I remember exactly what they were because I kept a record of every payoff I ever fucking got.
Well, what about Crockett Promotions and merchandise? Because obviously, I got to think the rock and roll. Oh,
well, there was none to speak of. And see, here's the thing now. Ricky does have a valid complaint here. The Rock and Roll Express fan club that they started and advertised on television. What was that? Late '86, early '87-ish.
Yeah.
In that time period, Ricky released the highly prized single Boogie Woogie Dance Hall.
Oh, God.
Where
awful.
He was singing, and they had the 6-foot-tall life-size poster. I have one of these Rock and Roll Express fan club packages here in the vault. They had a 6-foot color poster of them. We know that they did over $1 million on the Rock and Roll Express fan club because it came out in some type of deposition somewhere. We'll just leave it at that. They took in over $1 million, and Ricky and Robert, I think, got like 21 grand a piece out of that year.
Wow.
So, which may have hastened their leaving Crockett Promotions, I think, in '87 for that time, that point. But see, they had the way that it was always told in the locker room, and I don't want to malign any members of the Crockett family. But the way that it was always told in the locker room is they didn't investigate where some of the money was going on merchandise that they were selling of some of the baby faces because they thought that it might be a member of the Crockett family until they found out that it was actually some fucking goof that they had hired that took them for a bunch of fucking money, and nobody found out till it was too late. But nevertheless, I digress. That's the story that was going around in the locker room.
Well, remember, a while back on the 605 Superpodcast, I had Judge Richard Boner on the show, and yes, that's his real name. And he, at the time, was working as a lawyer for Crockett in the late 80s. He was the guy in charge of going around and rounding up all the people bootlegging merchandise. There were people apparently selling bootleg Rock and Roll Express t-shirts at various gas stations throughout the Carolinas.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, yeah. It was the hottest thing in the Carolinas. If you've got a gas station on the corner of fucking dumb fucking Park in Oshkosh, South Carolina, the chances of anybody affiliated with Jim Crockett Promotions wandering into that location was nil, right? Or slim. But sometimes you would actually stop in these places on the way to some fucking far off spot show, and you'd walk in and you'd see these bootleg, handmade Rock and Roll Express, Magnum TA, and Dusty Rhodes shit. Because it was so fucking hot, everybody was watching the TV.